I put on with LBC. I put on with LBC. Yeah, I put on with LBC. Over LBC. I put on with LBC. Over LBC. Wave riders in the building, yeah, they riding with me. Moon guys on my chain, ain't no breaking the team. Started with a vision, now we running the game. Charts glow, purple teal, yeah, you know the name. From the beach to the block, we controlling the tide. Every candle that we light, that's the wave we ride. I've been grinding through the night, while the city don't sleep. Putting LBC on maps, taking wins, stacking deep. From the charts to the streets, got the fam in the mix. Every move calculated, yeah, we playing with steel. I put on for LBC, over LBC. I put on for LBC, over LBC. Wave riders in the building, yeah, they riding with me. Moon guys on my chain, ain't no breaking the team. Crypto hustle late nights, yeah, we stay in the zone. Stacking knowledge, stacking bags, turning charts into gold. Market makers throw shade, but we glow through the rain. Every dip just a test, every loss turns to gain. Got the fam worldwide, but the roots run deep. From the med, I was grind to the LBC streets. This for every wave rider who believed in the dream. We gon' put it on the map, keep it real, reign supreme. Reign supreme, reign supreme, reign supreme. I put over LBC, over LBC. I put over LBC, over LBC. From the charts to the stage, man, you know who it be. It's that Lunar Beaches fam putting on endlessly.
Good evening, and welcome to Lunar Beaches Crypto, where we ride the waves of the crypto market all the way to the moon. Thank you all for being here. I do greatly appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind going ahead and just smacking the like button. I don't care if you've watched me before or not. Just do it. It's just a nice thing to do. And we're all about spreading love and kindness here on Lunar Beaches Crypto. What's going on, everybody? Hope you all had a chill weekend, a weekend of relaxation. Sorry, Harp. Sorry about the Eagles. I watched that whole game and was just as shocked as everybody else for the Cowboys to come back and win. It was kind of very unexpected, very messy game, very sloppy game on both sides. It started off with Dallas in the first half and then Philly in the second half, and it's just like, what's going on here? You guys are getting paid millions of dollars to not fumble the ball 3 times a game. Like, what do y'all do it? But anyways, of course, my Titans got beat down. The end score, the final score, does not accurately represent how that game went. Thankfully, they suck so bad that they're not even showing in my market, and I'm in the state. They're like, we gotta get people to these games somehow. But anyways, so many penalties, yeah, and penalties too. Just an all-around ugly game. But you know, it's a division rivalry, so you kind of expect it a little bit. Half a game again. Yep, there you go. So, where's everybody at? How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Pretty chill weekend for me. Got a lot done around the house today. Yesterday just watched the baby for until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon because my wife was out at a market selling some scrubs. Because just little things. She likes to do little things, you know. She's got a lot of little things that she does. She does charcuterie boards. She makes shirts. She makes hats. She makes like prints the stuff and puts stuff on them. She's the one that made my shirt. So she does all kinds of different little things, and it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I wish I had that in me to just make things and sell them. But anyways, just trying to make the time go by so more people could come in here. But looks like it might be another slow one this evening. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What's going on? Good evening, Alexandra G. Mod Boss, Mod Queen, Mod God. Thank you for being here and putting that Discord link in the chat, pinning it in the chat. Do greatly appreciate you for doing that. And we have also got JB Hulk smashing here. What's going on? Good evening, JB. Thank you for being here. And we've got Harp. What's going on? Hope you are doing well outside of the game today. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the charts. Take a look at Bitcoin here. Coming almost to the 886, which sits at $80,360. We came down to 80,572. So just a couple $100 short of the 886. Now I wasn't able to stream, so we got to do some catch up here and some mayonnaise. So. Ooh, 3-way, 4-way. Gosh, dang it, Harp. You threw me off. Oh yeah, so I wasn't able to stream Wednesday or Thursday because my internet was out. Like it was just out. And then it finally, by the time I got home, Friday, got home from work, it was back on. So it was like. They were going to send the tech out on Saturday, but we ended up being able to cancel, thankfully. So we've got internet back. I think, how's the stream doing? Hopefully it's doing well. But yeah. All right, so Bitcoin. Getting into, let's zoom out to the weekly real quick. So we got into this weekly demand. I don't really care for the fact that we closed inside of it. I would have liked to have seen a close above it right here, this high right here. So this green box. Would have preferred if we got a close above it, but we did bounce off of the middle line of 50%, which I don't have on here. Let's brighten that up so we can see it. There we go. Yeah, nice tap, and then push, 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 which is what we want to see before we get into our dead cat bounce and it dies, okay? So that's what we're kind of leaning towards right now is dead cat bounce to the upside, and then a rollover. That's what it's looking like, unfortunately. We've got a fair value gap right here. Okay. Here we go. Fair value gap right here. Let me do my gray. Here we go. It's a weekly fair value gap. This fair value gap was also created as we broke this low over here, which means it is going to be a key area of support and resistance. So if we want it to turn into support, we need to get above it and then come back down into it and then bounce. Anything outside of this, and we're still looking at a dead cat bounce. This can still turn into a dead cat bounce, okay? So just because we get something like this doesn't mean we're in the clear, unfortunately. Now we want to look on the smaller time frames, on the lower time frames for, impulsive price action. So we want to see impulsive price action. This is what we want to see. If we don't get this and it just kind of lags around, well then we got to be careful, because especially coming up into that fair value gap, if it's just kind of meandering along, okay, well, it's not really good. Because if it's just doing that, that means that sell pressure is much greater than that buy pressure. And then you get another rollover. That could end a 5-wave crashing structure. The only question will then be, do we take out the low or can we get a bounce? Either way, it's going to be the same thing. If we do come up, we come down here and we do end up somehow getting a bounce down here at the lows and then come up, it's the same thing. We still need to see impulsive price action. If it just kind of meanders along, then we've got to be real careful that that's not just a bear flag forming that ultimately rolls over. And I am currently in the more bear camp, although short term we could get a Thanksgiving rally. So we do have that. What's going on, All Set? Thank you for being here. Is there someone else? Oh, Melissa, LBCOG in the house. What's going on? Thank y'all for being here. One of these days, I am going to remember, or maybe I can get my wife to do it, Mrs. LBC, to go to the post office so I can get some stamps so I can send you guys these stickers, which I think I'm going to do a Thanksgiving giveaway for more stickers. So be here Thursday because I do plan on streaming that evening. That's the plan. That's the plan. So, yeah. Bitcoin getting a little bit of a bounce here. Let's go ahead and bring up some indicators. I've got this volume spread analysis, which I need to get onto. Let's go to a Coinbase chart because it actually has volume. So, all right. Gray box on here is weekly order block, I do believe. Yeah. So we've got a weekly order block here. Now we did get a close above the weekly order block. Now if you just do the whole zone as demand from this high to this low, then clearly we got the close below. But if we just go by the candle bodies, which is how I accept my order blocks, just more condensed, more volume, that's where I like it. There you go. We actually closed above, tapped down on it, and now are trying to get a push off of it. Now I want to do some, broad, more macro analysis because it is Sunday night and that's what we typically do around here. But I do want to get into some volume stuff moving forward, just so you guys know. I've been playing a lot with a lot of volume stuff, and I will show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about with that. Daniel, what's going on? Daniel CA Prude 8269. Have I seen that PFP before? What's going on? Thank you for being here. Now, obviously, it's really obvious in hindsight, but we did have bearish divergence here on the weekly. These highs, money flow or momentum waves pushing towards the downside as we're pushing to the upside. What does that mean? Momentum is not following the price action, meaning as we are pushing higher, momentum is dying. And if momentum is dying as you're pushing higher, what does that mean? That means the move is likely going to die, and that's what we saw. So we've gotten a pretty good pullback here on Bitcoin. Let's see, from top to bottom, a 36.24%. These previous pullbacks were not too bad themselves. We got 31.98%, and down here we got 33.57%. So it's right there in the same ballpark. Now, we do have these a whole bunch of equal highs up here. That's why I have this level marked off at $116,500 because that's right about where those equal highs rest. We've got a order block right here, and so if price can get up here, I would look for a potential sweep of that level and a rejection candle body close below the 50% of this order block. If we do get that on the daily, if we do get that, that would not be a good sign. That would be a very bad sign. So what are we gonna do, Bitcoin? That's the question. That's the question. Let's go ahead and throw in anchored VWAP. So with anchored VWAPs, you want to put these at key levels, key levels, key events, key levels. If you're doing more short-term or scalp trading, one thing that you can use a VWAP for is like on news events. Go ahead and just place the VWAP on there from when the news event occurred, whether it's like if it's like an economic data thing that comes out at 8:30, you know, and the market reacts to it. You want to throw that VWAP on that candle, go down to the 1 minute, throw the VWAP on that candle, because what that's going to do is that's going to show you where the big money interest is. You want it on that and on your swing levels, on your high time frames and your lower time frames, swing levels on both. So for here, the swing level is going to be this high. Because of the major liquidation event, that's an event, right? So I threw VWAP, anchored VWAP on both the high and the liquidation event, which was here this day. And you can see how price reacts to both. Let's get rid of, let's get rid of that real quick. So you can see price comes down, it comes up, hovers, sticks around the VWAP from the day of the crash. Sticks around, it kind of hovers around. Let's get rid of this one real quick. See how it just oscillates? And then eventually you get a nice big rejection off of it. You got a little bit of a push here. That was a little bit of a fake out, but what did it do? It got into this fair value gap. Could not take out the midpoint of that fair value gap. It actually came right up to it. And I believe we already looked at this before, but yeah, came right up to it. And then you get price coming down. VWAP pushing towards the downside. Notice how the volume weighted average price is pushing, trending downwards. What does that mean? Big money is selling off. And what you want to look for is you want to see volume spikes at these levels. So if you see a nice spike in volume, this one got a nice little big push up right here. This is volume spread analysis by, what's it called? Or what's it? Volume spread for VSA. That's what it's called, by Harl Process. Yeah, that name, by that person. So right now, the VWAP since the crash occurred. Let's go down to the hourly and let's place this a little bit tighter. Don't forget to join the Discord. Link is in the description. It's also pinned in the chat. Now I'm going to go from the start of the sell-off here. And look how price just reacts to these levels. Look at it. You get a volume spike here. Big push up. You come back down. Fill orders. Come back up. You could have taken a scalp long here to take out this high. Then you see momentum die. And then it comes and it breaks towards the downside. Now when you come back up and you start to retest the VWAP, you see all of the rejections here. That is showing that the institutions or big money, the whales, whoever is up here, that's where they're selling off. Then once you start to lose significant levels, then you can ride that trend to the downside. Now, the thing about this is that since this is placed on an event, and this is several days within the VWAP, it's going to start to act more like a magnet where price trades back to it. Okay, so you can kind of fade back to the VWAP. And then eventually you just straight up lose it. Let's go to the 4 hour. Bingo and a bango. What's going on? T.I. Joe, thank you for being here and smashing that like button and telling everybody else to smash that like. What's going on? All set. Chase the gap or wait for VWAP. There you go. Getting a bounce here, looks like. Just getting a little bit of a push. Bitcoin sitting at $87,720. Getting a nice little push here. Let's go ahead and bring up the CoinGlass charts. All right, so wanted to take a look at this. Our funding rates did flip negative for a second. Not for very long. So the funding rate is based on buyers and sellers, which one is more heavily favored in the market at the time. The green means that there's a lot of longs in the market, way more longs than shorts. And then as you start coming down lower and lower, you see this start to kind of fall off as people are closing their long positions because it's just going lower and lower. That where they're getting liquidated. One of those two. Same with the, we've got, where's my open interest? You actually see an increase in open interest as we're pushing to the downside. So that is going to be both longs and shorts. So you've got people opening both long and short positions as is pushing to the downside because you've got people wanting to try and catch a falling knife, catch a bounce, and you've got people just shorting the market. Now, it's that's when it's coming to the upside. Now, when open interest is coming to the downside, then they are closing their positions. Okay. So the fact that we see your open interest closing their positions as they are moving to the downside right here, this move down right here, this is moving down, this is longs getting squeezed. You see that big push down here on this wick. I don't know if you can see that. Big push down on that wick. You see the downtrending candles right here. Okay, yep. And then as price starts to move back up, you see open interest starting to fall even more. What is that doing? That's shorts covering their positions. They're closing their positions. The ones that started to get in, late shorts, are covering their position. That's what it is. And then you see just kind of flat, and then even more to the downside. So you got more and more shorts closing their positions, likely as price is moving to the upside, especially now that we see the funding rate flip green. So what this means is that in order to keep liquidity pretty balanced in the order book, they have the funding rate. So with the funding rate, when you open up a long and the funding rate is positive, you're actually paying short sellers to keep the long open. You can actually do a little bit of arbitrage on this if something is just staying crazy negative funding rate, or I don't really understand how it works. I did for like a second when I looked into it one day, but I did not retain the information. T.I. Ray, what's going on? What's going on? Meet Damien. Thank you for being here. I see we still got the @ things on the names instead of just showing people's names. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, so when the funding rate is negative, that means shorts are paying longs because there's more shorts than there are longs in the market. So this is kind of what you want to see if you are kind of bullish. I mean, either way, it's all in context, right? CVD, our cumulative volume delta, is trying to flip positive, but right now we're at minus 91.87%. So the CVD is just completely, it's just gone. It doesn't even exist anymore. Look at it. Just doesn't even exist. There's no, it's all negative. It's all negative. It's all selling. It's just what it is. Let's see, aggregated futures, bid and ask. So on futures, we've got aggregated negative delta on the futures, which kind of makes sense. But this is coins, so this is coins being traded, leveraged, not perpetuals. Whereas I do believe this is open interest in coins, so that's -2. So yeah, and then we have a positive on our futures, on our funding rate. That means our bulls are leveraged, but our short sellers are not. Which is probably not what you want to see. Okay, especially if they're spot selling, because these are coins. I mean, it is leveraged. Yeah, that's open interest, CVD, candles. I thought I had coins on here. Spot CVD. Spot CVD is up here. So we do have a positive delta on the spot. Well, technically it's still negative. It's below 0. We haven't been positive since well over here. Okay. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I'd say still leans more bearish than bullish. Then Aaron from the Otter Gang, someone in the Otter Gang, a member of the Otter Gang, told me to take a look at this site right here. It's Kayotaka.ai. And I was like, oh man, that's like right up my alley. Hopefully this thing will load. Because this will actually show or an order book heat map. And it's free. You don't even have to pay for it. But it's also kind of slow and kind of laggy and kind of it needs some upgrades, but it's still pretty nice for something that's free. This is something that you would usually have to pay for, like a trading light. I like trading light, but I don't feel like paying for it, so I don't use it. You can get a lot of the same stuff here also on CoinGlass, the one that we were just on. Why does this keep going back to the music page? I'm over here trying to look at chat, and you're on the music page. What are you doing? Did someone say magnet? No. Nope. Now this has order book depth. So as price is rising, we see our order book depth flip to a negative delta. So that just means that we've got more sellers entering as we've got the market pushing to the upside. All these lines on here, this is like liquidity. This basically, it's kind of like a liquidity heat map, except this will show the coins, the spot bids in the markets, bids and asks. So the ask will be above, the bids will be below. So we actually want to see the bids build up underneath price, because that's what helps keep it propped up. Obviously, these are also going to be places where we can find price going to, because that's where liquidity is. So I would actually prefer it if we started seeing, if we started seeing stack bids like right below price instead of down here below a swing level. But that could help us lift price up. But you can see we don't really have a lot of ask here, okay? And the predominant spot bids are down here at about 75K. And if I turn the magnifier on, we can see the actual orders here. So we've got, wow. Does it drop that much? Did they pull the orders? Did I change something? This was showing. Wait. Oh, I did change something. Okay, so I changed from perp to spot, so that's why it looks like it's less. Okay, that makes sense. So we can actually deselect all these, select all these. We could just do per perps, and you'll see how much money is sitting at these spots at that heat map. It was showing like 44 or 47 million, 44, 47 million down there at that 75K mark. Now, I do prefer the spot heat map because I want to see spot bids coming in and lifting up price. I don't necessarily want to see perpetuals lifting price, if that makes sense. And I was talking to BC Port Corp today, and he was showing me an open interest chart over there on CoinGlass that has open interest heavy at 60, it's like in like 67,000, I think. And what that means is that there's just not a lot of that. When you're doing trading perpetuals, you're betting on the future price of Bitcoin, okay? Especially, specifically in like a option style market. Like if you're on Coinbase and you're trading perps, it's not going to be the same as trading perps on BitTunix. So it's like a contract. So it's like, I think that Bitcoin will reach this price between now and October 2028, whatever it is. And so when you have open interest all the way down at $67,000, what that is showing is that the people see $67,000 being a future price of Bitcoin. And because that's where the interest is right now. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, so we can see we've got this high volume node right here sitting at, let's see, the bottom side of that's at about $91,200. We also have an order block right there. Okay. And actually, if we go to the daily chart, I was actually looking at this one earlier. I wish this stuff didn't take so long to load. I might have to get off of here. I really just wanted to show the order book depth and the liquidity heat map, but it is not wanting to work. Like I said, it's pretty cool until you want it to work. It's pretty cool when you first start it up. All right, I can't deal. I can no deal. Visible range, volume, profile. Turn that on. Close this. VWAP. Let's go ahead and turn on. Is this my weekly? It's my session VWAP. I don't have a weekly turned on. Let's see. VWAP. Turn that off. Turn this to week. No multipliers. Style. Make that thing thick. And there we go. So I like the weekly VWAP. It starts on Sunday night and it rides throughout the week. If you go to last week, let's go ahead and mark the start of last week which was right here. See a VWAP reset. Let's go to the end of last. Wait, was that 2 weeks ago? That was 2 weeks ago. This was last week. All right. And here. Now notice we lose VWAP, the weekly VWAP. You come down into a demand zone right here. And then you come up into, you get a perfect bounce right there, into and reject the VWAP. So this is where the big money is going to be on, and your price action is going to be at your volume weighted average price. So you want to see reactions to these levels. And we got a negative reaction, and we got to close and sweep below this low. You get one little push up, which takes a lot to get up there. And then you get another rejection. By this time, you should probably, not financial advice, already be in a short. You also, if you notice, the trend of the VWAP is pushing to the downside. And even before you get down there, turn this magnet off. Even before you get down here, we're trending to the downside on our VWAP. Now, you get a break above it. And then, okay, cool. That's cool and all. But if that VWAP is still trending down, then you got to be careful, because price is going to want to gravitate towards VWAP. Because that's just how it is. Because that's where the volume is. Look, this is last week. You lose it, come back up, reject, come back up, reject. And then this whole time, it's kind of pushing down more and more and more. Then eventually it just breaks. And you can make a lot of money just by waiting for that perfect break and being patient. That could be your only trade of the week. You can see for the last 2 weeks, you get kind of chilling out at the beginning of the week, Then you get a breakdown, and you get a breakdown, back test, roll over, back test again, and then poop the bed, It was the same thing 2 weeks in a row. This one was just straight line down, but the same thing. You start the week off going down, and it just cannot, you just see price just cannot get above meaningfully. No meaningful push above, and VWAP is just steady pushing down. Even the week prior, you're still pushing down. It is not bullish. Your overall trend is to the downside. LOL, poop to bed. What's going on, Jesus Say 77? Hi guys, I'm here more often than not, but my son has been calling me at this time. I do hit the like button, even if not able to chat much. Love to you all. God bless. God bless you to you, Jesus Saves. Thank you for being here and pushing and smashing that like button. We do greatly appreciate you for doing that. All right, guys. So, what do we got going on over here? What indicator is? Why is histogram is too large? Row size 100. I didn't think that's too large. So let's go to 1000. That doesn't make sense, but okay. Up, down. Can we move it over to the right side? Bam. Craziness. Visible range, volume profile. So you can see this is where most of the volume is. Also, like a good old Let's go ahead and add another VWAP. Telling you guys, I'm doing the volume trading. It's been doing me well. Let's get rid of this, and turn on the monthly style. We're gonna thicken that bad boy up. We're gonna make it blue, because monthly is blue. So our November VWAP is sitting at $95,435, which we also have volume node sitting right there as well. But Bitcoin would first have to get through the point of control of this move down here, which currently sits at 91,345. So if Bitcoin can get a push above that point of control, if I can click on the brush, thank you. If it can get a push above and then use it as support, then we could see it go up to that monthly VWAP. And then we'll see what it does from there. Does it come back down to the point of control? Does it fail to hold and fall through and come down to this next volume node? We'll see. But right now, we got to get pushing. Anchored VWAP at the bottom. Like I said, swing levels are good places for your anchored VWAPs. Swing lows, swing highs, wherever it is. I can even go to this swing high, and we can see that that acted as resistance right here. If you were able to catch this SFP on the lower time frames, you could have rode it up to that swing level VWAP. That would have been a target. Then we flipped it, and this is what made me go long and long earlier today that I've already taken profit on. I'm not trusting rallies, okay? I'm still not trusting rallies, but once it got up to the VWAP, that's when I cut it. The weekly VWAP, which is now reset because we have started a new week. So, all right. That's a lot. Let's go ahead. Let's keep these going, keep these on, and let's go. So we do have a CME gap. Down to the top side of this is 85,485. We'll see if it'll want to get filled. Now we did start the day off up, and we did come down and then got a push off, and we are sitting back above VWAP currently. So I'm not entirely sure if we will come back down to fill the rest of that soon or later. We'll see. Bitcoin dominance sitting at 59%. Big, nice drop here on the Bitcoin dominance. It's actually been falling precipitously. And even our Bitcoin dominance got a rejection off of the monthly VWAP. But right now, it's coming to the downside. Now, on these moves up, altcoins will probably gain more than Bitcoin if things are moving, if they're all moving up together. And so Bitcoin will either stay pretty flat, or if it gets a nice little pullback, we can see it start to take some dominance back. But right now, Bitcoin dominance has been pushing down. Now this could be a completed crashing structure in here. But we do have an imbalance over here. So, I don't know, man. You know, this is like what my one of my favorite sayings is: there's always one more dip, because there usually is always one more dip. And so that's kind of what I'm preparing for, is that we're going to get one more dip before we get our rally. But we might get a Thanksgiving rally before that. We'll see. Yes, go ahead and let's take a look at the S&P 500. What are we doing here? What is this? Okay, so my projection is to the upside. There we go. Let's get rid of that. All right, let's see. S&P. Let's zoom out on the daily. Came down, we swept this low. Trying to get, it's above the weekly VWAP. We want to see that thing get a push. So all-time high that got taken out. We can get rid of that. We've got a fair value gap here. So we did reject from already. Created that fair value gap here, came up into it, rejected, come down, take sell side liquidity, and then we'll see if we can, if this will get a push up and push through, or if it will reject that fair value gap. The macro still looks horrendous, by the way. Yeah, we'll see if this is what happens. We're sticking with that on the NASDAQ. Let's see, I did create some new formulas this over the weekend, some new tickers. I've got one that is all of the MAG 8 or MAG 7. MAG 7? I think I put the 7 in here. Yeah. So this is all of the MAG 7. Let me get rid of the VWAPs real quick. All right. It's all of them combined. So let's see what we've got here. So I did that because right now the MAG 7 makes up like a whopping like 40%, or was it 70% of I don't even know. I'd have to look into it again. But 7 companies, even out 40% is crazy. It's ridiculous. So we're pretty consolidated at the top side on these. But if we can get a sell-off, this is the bullish opium. If we can get a sell-off, maybe coming down into this gap, and then a retrace. So in that retrace is where we would look for potential, the risk on trade. That's where we would look for the risk on trade. And you're talking about maybe Q1 of 2026. And that's where potentially where we could see Bitcoin also doing a retrace. And at this point in time, this is where we would get some kind of mini alt season-ish. It's more of like their last gasp. And then before it all goes down, likely goes down. So that's kind of what I'm looking for across the board. Is I want to see, does this continue to push down and then up and then rolls over? Or can it get a continuation? But I think maybe a sweep of these lows, come back down, back test, breakout, back test, and go. Or fall through, come back up, reject, and then continue lower. Or maybe just down to that. So it really needs to hold this level here at about 2,380 points. I've also got Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin minus stablecoins. So Bitcoin's actually, or Bitcoin dominance minus stablecoins, and that's actually sitting at 64.92%. I actually need to keep a thing written down for what all of these are. This is a formula that I had Grok create, which is the global liquidity formula. You got your US M2, CN, China M2, you've got the Euro M2, the Japanese M2, the Great Britain M2, all of those together, that's like your global liquidity, and you can see it just keeps pushing to the upside over time. This is on the monthly. Wow. Or no, that was a weekly. Now it's on a monthly. Now what's cool about this, we can go to hit that compare button, bring up Bitcoin, hit new price scale. We can see when the global when we see stuff start to leave the fiat, people start leaving the fiat, you get the big push up in Bitcoin. And as it's going up, you see people getting back in as it's consolidating, more distributing up here at the highs. that's when you see the global liquidity index start to push higher. Okay. Then you get the bear market, because this is, I mean, that's why they cross, because they're literally leaving Bitcoin and getting into their fiat currency. So you get that push to the upside. Why are they both going up at the same time here? Well, that's a good question that I don't have an answer to because it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Now, if this starts to fall off, maybe that's when we get a push up. But notice how it's just up and to the right over time, because they always print more and more and more and more and more. As a matter of fact, this says 2,431 trillion. This might not be the best, most accurate formula that I've ever had Grok create. I just created it yesterday or Saturday, so you'll have to forgive me. This is SPX versus TLT, which is the US 10-year bond market. Another way to kind of see risk on. This is kind of like a risk on or off scale. So if you're pushing to the upside here, then you're more risk on. If you're pushing to the downside, you're more risk off, because it's the SPX. It's the S&P 500 versus the 10-year treasury yields. So if they're going into the yields, that's a risk off environment. If they're coming out of the yields, which is this price going up, chart going up, then that's risk on. And currently, we've been kind of consolidating, just chopping about here in a parallel channel. And we'll see how that breaks. And a couple of other ones. We'll get into that at another time. Trying to go through everything. So the Dixie, we got a nice little pop up. We'll see if it wants to reject this. Why are we not level? Thank you. We'll see if it will want to come up and if it will want to reject this level or not. If we can get a rejection here, then we might see a few weeks of bullish price action as assets are inverse correlated with the dollar. But this setup right here looks very much like a W bottom, where you get this SFP of the low, a push up, you break the high, and then you get a pullback and then a continuation. And you get something like this, bear market. Yep. And then that could take us all the way into mid 2026. And then that kind of lines up. That actually really lines up with the bear market. If we are in a bear market, if we continue to follow the 4-year cycle, then that means our low likely comes in Q4. Our bear market low comes in Q4 of 2026. And that would line up perfectly with the Dixie here. NVIDIA, we want this to continue to grow and be strong, because it's not all on its own, but it's kind of helping prop up the market. Okay, so we definitely want that to continue to go. But right now, I've got these levels marked off. Let's go to the daily chart. So we've got some relatively equal lows over here at the 164.58 mark. And you can see I placed an anchored VWAP at the high here. And you can see what price came up to it. We rejected it. So with volume as well. Volume did pick up there. Momentum pushing towards the downside. So at the very least, we should see a pullback, and then we'll see what it does if and when it gets down to these lows. Does it want to get a little bit of a bounce or doesn't want to sweep them before getting a bounce. So I would want to see something like I just put out there. We got this VWAP anchored to the swing low. That one sits at 155.81. So if this can come down here and we see an increase on the volume and then a bounce, we get the sweep of the lows. We come back in the range here. Okay, come back within this range. Then we want to see a push from there, and then it's just continuation. Continue to climb. Because all this would be is a nice little deviation above these highs, deviation below the lows, and a continuation to the upside. And that would potentially also bang up against this bounce. I mean, it could take its time, could just go sideways a little bit, and then sweep and then bounce. Or we could come down here and then bounce. This VWAP could level off as we're pushing down. And then we get both the trend line and a VWAP all coming together all at the same time. So this trend line is just this whole bull market trend. And yeah, that's looking pretty good right now. So Nvidia is still looking pretty good. Even, I mean, the earnings were great. Everything is great about Nvidia right now. So I am still, for sure, long-term bullish on Nvidia. I did see that, I think Walmart got a nice push. Yeah, it got a nice push, but getting a pullback currently. But I saw they had like something, what was it? So something went up 27%. I don't want to, was it sales? Something crazy. But pretty much people they're buying at Walmart, which is typically a sign of recession. When you get a really big boost in Walmart sales, yeah. It's also holiday season, so we want to be kind of careful with that because the numbers will be skewed as more people shop and this time of year. So there's that. So Walmart, we'll see if that'll continue to play. This actually doesn't looks like a pretty strong chart. Trying to get that momentum flip here, that zero line flip. It is pushing to the upside, trying to anyway. Nice big volume spike here on this push to the downside or upside. Got a little bit of a gap here down at 101. Oh no, what's the high? Yeah, 101.71. Might look at a buy at 102.72 if it'll get down there. And then get a continuation. Especially if this can that momentum can flip green. We'll see if that VWAP will kind of curve back down as this pushes towards the gap. And then hopefully get a bounce off of that zero line. That money flow is green. Get that momentum flipping with it all. Maybe something like that for Walmart. We'll see. Ethereum actually got down to 28.50. I didn't know if it was going to do it, but it did. It did, my friends. 28.50. Let's go ahead and take that off. Don't quite remember which one it was. Was it this one? Yeah. So I got down to the 27.50. Tried to get down lower. Didn't quite get there, but it might still. 25.33. Oh, look at that. If you go from the last high, then it came all the way down to it. Okay. Not looking too shabby. Hello, everyone. Hello, Johnny December. How you doing? I remember the Johnny December. How you doing, Johnny? Thank you for being here. Right at the end of the show. Stream, whatever. I don't even really consider it a show. It's more of a stream. Tesla getting that rejection that we were projecting. And yeah, that's what it's looking like right now. It's not looking too hot. Tesla's not looking too hot. Especially when you consider Elon's got a little bit of egg on his face right now because of the whole Doge thing. Doge shut down, is officially shutting down. So I don't know if you consider that egg on your face, but I don't think it's the best look and especially when you consider the fact that ever since Trump's inauguration, on average, we've added $6.5 billion a day to the debt, which is a lot. And Doge was supposed to help with that. I don't know what happened. It is what it is. And yeah, let's see. USDT dominance. We got to go over this real quick. See what we're looking like here. Oh, look at that. Nailed that. Let's zoom out. See what this is. Ah, this high right here. Okay. All right, all right, all right. So USDT dominance could be short-term bearish as it potentially just consolidates here for a few days. See if it comes back to this high right here and then gets a bounce. And then we'll see, will it get a nice big bounce and push high, retest, and continuation. If that happens, that means we're not doing too well in our assets. They're actually probably going to the downside. Or can we get a SFP and then fall? This is what we want if we are bulls. Want to get an SFP at the high and then come back down, run the lows. That means our risk on assets, our cryptos, will be pushing to the upside at that time. I still do not believe altcoins, most of them, will see new all-time highs. Not until next cycle, and maybe not even then. Russell 2000, SFP is a high, falling back below. Now, say SFP, but let's see. On the weekly, we did get some candle body closes above. Just a couple, though. We did get one on the monthly, but we did not close. I mean, we technically closed at a new high here. But I prefer to close above the previous candle's wick. It just did come down into this fair value gap. So we'll see if it can get a bounce. Fair value gap, imbalance. We do have these relatively equal highs here on the Russell. So that is what we want to see, because I would expect for those equal highs to get taken out. Gold, still waiting to see if it'll take out these equal highs. Right now, it's actually not doing too bad. You get the breakdown there. Get that low, get that high, break above, finding support, expansion. It's either that or it's going to be some kind of megaphone and continue to correct, which is possible. If it does this, then That might have been a blow off top. But I don't know, man. I don't know about those equal highs. But we did come back up to this order block and rejected. So it's decision time for gold here. So we'll see if it'll want to get some continuation here, as we are in more of a risk off environment currently right now. That's just what we are right now until things turn around. I don't expect too much going on this week. We might get that little rally. But even if we do, we still got to be careful. We still got to manage our risk. We got to keep our stop losses tight on our longs or our shorts, because we're in an environment where we could continue to the downside, or we could even potentially get a short squeeze if we were able to get enough of a spot bid. So we'll see what we do moving forward. As you guys know, we take it day by day. And right now, it's just still kind of chilling, sitting on our hands, not doing a whole lot. For me personally, I am following the Piper DCA plan. Make sure you guys are going over to the Piper Academy if you're not already, and subscribing, and consider becoming a member for just $5. I'm not even with the Piper Academy, but anymore. Maybe in the future, we'll see. But the Piper plan, he just dropped a PDF going over it all. I'm not going to show it because you got to be a member. So if he wants to share it, he can. That's his prerogative, okay? To non-members. But that's what I'm following. I'm going to follow the DCA plan all the way through the next cycle, and maybe even the cycle after that. We'll see. We'll see how these cycles continue to cycle. Will they recycle the cycles, or are they going to evolve into something else now that institutions are here? We'll see. We already saw pretty lackluster altcoin season, if it even existed. We'll see. We'll see what we can do in Bitcoins if Bitcoin goes into a retrace, which, even if it is the bear market, we should at least see some kind of relief rally. Should, keyword. But we'll wait and see. Now, we did see the Fed rate cut decision go from very low, like 40% chance, to above a 70% chance of a rate cut in December after the jobs reports. So we'll see. There's a lot that we need. And even then, it still doesn't mean necessarily, because you got to think, once you start getting into rate cuts, what are people doing? They're getting dollars. They're going to start borrowing dollars. The dollar gets more in demand. Now, what they do with those dollars will be the $1 trillion question, or $1 million Bitcoin question. Maybe one of these days. That's if Michael Saylor and all his Ponzi stocks don't go to zero, because MSCI might reclassify, okay, MicroStrategy and all these treasury companies. January 15th, we got to pay attention that day, because that is when MCI will make their decision, make their ruling on that, and whether or not they will classify them as stocks, actual working, operating companies, or are they just going to be funds. We'll see. If that is the case, then that means they'll I think MicroStrategy's already been removed from some index, but they'll be removed from indexes, which means they will no longer start getting that capital flow into them. And that generally would hurt Bitcoin, because that would create selling pressure. Now, hurt Bitcoin is strong, probably the wrong phrase, because I think that, in my opinion, that probably helps Bitcoin more than hurts it. But I digress. We'll get into that maybe another day. But yeah, that way they would probably sell just so that they don't lose all their butts. Okay, so January could be bumpy. Could be bumpy going into it. We'll see. Or we could go into our retrace leading up to that date, and then from that day on, that's when we top. Maybe. We'll see. And that's my cue. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys for joining me this evening. Thank you for smashing up the likes. If you wouldn't mind, if you haven't already, going ahead and doing that. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe. And hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I create new content and when I go live. Let's see, tomorrow, it's Monday, so I really don't do a whole lot with the trading on Monday because it tends to be a false move, if you will. It tends to be the setup for the rest of the week, but it is a short week, so we might get a lot of our trading in the first 3 days, and then we go into the holiday where the market's closed. So I don't even know if it's open Wednesday. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I will see you guys tomorrow right here at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, I hope you all have an amazing, beautiful, wonderful ride, a cool sleep. And I will catch you all in the next one. Mad love. God bless. Peace out. Where's the song I wanted to play? Bye.
Yeah. Welcome to Lunar Beaches Crypto, where the waves never stop and the moon lights the tide side. Yeah. Sitting on the shore while the charts run deep. Candles crash hard, but my faith don't sleep. Discipline sharp like a blade in the dark. Wave riders rise when the bulls lead a mark. Stacking my sets while the bears still doubt. Patience, the edge, that's what it's about. From the neon sands to the blockchain streets. LBC, the crew where the tide and the beat meet. Charts glow red, I don't fold, I adapt. Risk locked tight, every trade's map. Liquidity sweeps when the tide comes in. I learn from the loss, double down for the win. Moon on my chain, it reflects in the sea. Decentralized truth, that's freedom to me. Community strong, we all ride a line. Lunar Beaches Crypto, one of a kind. Fly ride the waves, let the candle rise. Money on chain, see it in our eyes. Baseline heavy, make the shoreline shake. Crypto in our veins, no breaks, just stake. From the beach to the moon, that's a life we choose. All gas, no brakes, wave riders don't lose. Together we build, yeah, the vision is true. Lunar Beaches forever, we ride with the crew. Cycles keep turning like tides in the night. Bear market lows, then the bulls ignite. Altcoin plays when the season gets hot, but Bitcoin steady, the anchor we got. TA clean, I be reading the flow. Order block tag, let the liquidity show. From Asia to London, New York to the Bay. Wave riders worldwide, riding charts every day. Stacks on deck, I'm compounding long. Vision of the future in the beats of this song. Purple and teal like the candlesticks bright. Beach on the moon, yeah, we shine all night. Transparency first, that's the code we keep. Ride the wave strong, though the water runs deep. Family and friends and the tide we trust. LBC to the core, it's the moon or bust. Let them ride away, let the candles rise. Money on chain, see it in our eyes. Baseline heavy, make the shoreline shake. Crypto in our veins, no breaks, just stake. From the beach to the moon, that's the life we choose. All gas, no brakes, wave riders don't lose. Together we build, yeah, the vision is true. Lunar Beaches forever, we ride with the crew. Neon ties crash with the bass so loud. LBC standing tall, we proud. Win or lose, we still ride a line. Cause the beach and the moon always shine in time. Let it ride away, let the candles rise. Money on chain, see it in our eyes. Baseline heavy, make the shoreline shake. Crypto in our veins, no breaks, just stake. From the beach to the moon, that's the life we choose. All gas, no brakes, wave Wave riders don't lose, together we build, yeah, the vision is true. Lunar Beaches forever, we ride with the crew.